Hi everybody, welcome to the show. I'm Andy Knode, and 25 years ago today, the episode Nothing to Fear aired for Batman the Animated Series, September 15th, 1992. Obviously, with a lot of these early episodes, we're going to be establishing characters, and we're going to be seeing the first. And this one is the first appearance of the Scarecrow.
I am the terror of Gotham. I am the Scarecrow.
So the 30-second rundown is pretty simple in this one. In fact, I think I can do it in 20 seconds. Here we go. 20 seconds. Let's go. Jonathan Crane, who went to university and studied fear elements and studied what makes people afraid, was kicked out of the university, and now he seeks revenge on the professors and the administration that kicked him out. That's pretty much it. This is a really simple plot. I was kind of surprised that this was actually only the third episode that was ever produced for Batman the Animated Series. And it was a really kind of basic idea. I got to say, when I was a kid, these episodes with the Scarecrow really, truly did scare me and creep me out. I've never been a fan of horror or being scared or frightening things or haunted houses or any of that kind of stuff. And so when an episode like this with the Scarecrow, who thrives on fear, would come out, it honestly scared me. And even watching it now, some of those moments in there, I remember, kept me up at night. Watching it now, obviously, it's not as scary. I'm not as scared now.
No! Get him off my back!
And maybe for that reason, Scarecrow was not one of my favorite villains. So I think when episodes with the Scarecrow came on, it wasn't my thing.
It's over, Scarecrow.
Only for you and the Doctor, Batman!
But honestly, it was kind of a mediocre episode. One of the strengths of Batman the Animated Series, like we talked about before with Heart of Ice, was this tragic storyline, was having a villain that you felt for, that had motives to do something that was justified in some sense, although his means were a little askewed. Here you have a villain that legitimately, the backstory, which, first of all, they establish his backstory in the most unconventional manner, that is, henchmen say,
"Gee, boss, I never liked school. But, how come you hate the university so much?"
And then Jonathan Crane, Scarecrow, launches into this.
"They tried to destroy me."
Just very uninventive. Very uninventive. That's a word, right? As it was explained, he enjoyed studying fear and what made people afraid. So he experimented with that until he was kicked out of the university, and now he seeks revenge. It was just kind of a throwaway. I felt like they could have done something more with this.
Hey, what are you? Stop! What? No! No spiders! Get them off of me! No! No!
I will say one of the highlights and one of the focuses of the episode is when Batman is sprayed with the gas. His fear that manifests itself is a fear of disappointing his father.
Bruce, you have failed me.
Father?
You have disgraced the family name.
That's kind of cool. That I thought was really kind of thoughtful, to make his fear, Batman or Bruce Wayne's fear, the fear of disappointing his father. It ties into his backstory of why he's on this quest of being Batman, to avenge his parents' murder and to do right and do something good with his life. So to be carrying that fear with you and have that brought out by this gas was kind of cool. And I think that it's a neat arc in Batman's story that he has to overcome this and has to justify that he has to get rid of this fear, overcome this fear of disappointing his parents or his father, that he is doing right and he is doing something good. And we see that, the iconic line that is carried with Batman and was used in a lot of the promos with Fox.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am
think if this episode served no other purpose but to establish that element of Batman's character, that layer of Batman, I think that it did some good. And I think that it serves a purpose in the grand scale Batman itself.
It's a giant bat!
Along with that, we are exposed to Alfred playing sort of the father figure role in Batman or Bruce Wayne's life, and in this really nice, sweet scene that's placed in the episode.
I'm having horrible visions of my father. He says I'm shaming the family name.
That's rubbish. I know your father will be proud of you, because I'm so proud of you. Now come on, it's time for chicken soup and a good night's sleep.
And maybe that was the purpose of this episode, was to showcase those sides of Batman, and the best way to do that was with the Scarecrow. I just feel like there was more they could have done with the Scarecrow.
Arachnophobia. Fear of spiders, you dim-witted dropout.
A couple other really neat moments which were in fact just dropped in moments of this episode was the fight on top of the blimp, very cool. The computer inside of the Batmobile, really cool. And a couple of nods to Axis Chemicals from the Batman movie and Star Labs, which is a major component that ties into a lot of the DC characters. And one of the most frightening images is when Batman exposes Scarecrow to his own gas and steps in the room, and Scarecrow sees that Batman as this really, as a real bat image is very frightening. I know distinctively that image was in a lot of my nightmares.
What's the matter, Scarecrow? Can't handle your own medicine?
Batman! No, stay away! Stay away, please! No! Stay away!
And honestly, probably will be in my nightmares tonight, thanks to rewatching this episode. Finally, one of the best images of the whole episode is when Batman visits the grave of his mother and father, and he walks away and you see his shadow as Batman. That I remember when I was a kid, and that's a very cool moment in this episode. So as I look to rank this episode in my favorite episodes that we've seen so far, it's probably no surprise to you that it falls at the bottom of the list. Again, that's only number 8 so far, but I think this one will probably stay somewhere along the bottom. I can't imagine that there's too many more episodes that fall to this level of quality, both in story and inventiveness. And so as we're talking about fear, let me know if you have any memories of this episode and some of the fear that it created in you, or some of the things that you're afraid of that you think would have been creative to put into this episode. And be sure to join me tomorrow when we look at the episode Be a Clown. I can only imagine what that one's about. Thanks again. I'm Andy Knode, and I will see you right here tomorrow as we watch another episode of Batman the Animated Series. Thanks again. We'll see you.